Today, over 7 billion people experience the world in different ways. Isn't it time for you to think global?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Think Global podcast. I'm your host, International Seth, and today with me, we are going to be talking about living off the grid. I think this is something that each and every one of us have thought about one time or another in their lives, and I'm going to be discussing this very topic with my guest, Mr. Tim McKulka. What's up, Tim? How you doing, man? It's good to see you, brother.
And you, how are you?
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
good, man. I'm good. Welcome to the show, man. It's really good to have you. You want to just like introduce yourself to our audience and just tell a little bit background about where you came from?
Yeah, my name's Tim McKulka, and I'm a photographer. I grew up in New Jersey and was living in New York before I moved to Africa in 2005. I've been living in Mozambique for the last 7 years with my wife and our daughter.
You know, I've been able to meet your lovely family. I've been really impressed with you guys, man. You guys are doing a lot of wonderful things there in Mozambique, and hopefully I could be part of it soon because you know we do have a house being built not too far from where you're at. So we're excited, you know, after this kind of madness calms down and we'll be able to visit Mozambique again. It's something that is very, very dear to my heart. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back there soon. So, Tim, we have a quick segment on our show that we call, we have every guest come on and do. It's called the World Call. And we like to highlight some of the places where our guests have been before in the past. And so we give our guests 10 seconds to name off some of the countries that you've been to. So, right now, I'm going to put you on the World Call. Ready, go.
Sudan, South Sudan, Haiti, Russia, India, Cambodia, Costa Rica, Finland, Liberia, Egypt, Syria,
Wow, man, that's
Ireland.
awesome.
Yeah,
All over, man.
yeah,
Haiti and
yeah.
oh man, all throughout Africa, man. South Sudan. I mean, you have definitely have some extensive travels, man. So why don't we just talk about how did you end up in Mozambique in the first place, and like what time, like what was this like? I think you said like 2010, but you know, why don't you go ahead and tell the story about why you guys and you and your family decided to move to Mozambique.
Sure. My wife and I, we were working in South Sudan. I was working as a photographer for the UN, and she is a human rights lawyer. And so she is South Sudanese and had been there from 2005. And I arrived there in 2006. And so we worked there. We had our, love and passion for. And then when we were looking at starting a family, we were married in 2009 and thinking, yeah, we want to live somewhere close and accessible to South Sudan, but given the context of what's going on there,
Mhm.
that as a place to, we wanted to find somewhere close by. So we came, and a good friend of ours was here, and we came to visit in 2010 and fell in love with the place. Arrived in Maputo. It has a really creative sensibility. The
Mhm.
country's dynamic, interesting people doing interesting things, and came to this area, which is Tofu, which is about 500 kilometers north of the capital.
Mhm.
And it's your idyllic beach resort. So then it was, how do you figure out how to make that work? And so that's what we started to do in 2010.
Man, that's fantastic, man. And like I said, man, I'm on your heels too. I mean, we're definitely trying to migrate that way, man. I really like the place. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, for you who don't know, Mozambique is a country that's located in Southeast Africa, across opposite from Madagascar. You have the Indian Ocean, and you have, you know, sometimes the migration of humpback whales go through that area, and it's amazing to see. I mean, Tim, you're probably like you see that every once or twice a year, right, with the migration of the humpback whales right in your backyard with the view that you guys have.
We do. Yeah, we had, they've actually just completed their migration back. So we get them going up and then they calve up here and they raise their young and then they head back as it gets warmer here and warmer down there. So it was fantastic. I actually had a drone and I was flying and was able to fly right above them, right off from the beach here and just a couple 100 meters off of shore and you breaching and there with their young. No, it's
Wow.
fantastic. It's
Wow.
really fantastic.
And
And just
that's another thing as well, is that living in the southern hemisphere, you guys have opposite seasons, right? Like right now it's you're gearing up for Christmas time, but Christmas in December and January is the hottest time of the year, right?
sure is. Yeah, yeah, we're
Mm,
getting hot. It's
yeah,
starting to cook.
yeah. So
Yeah.
let's discuss the where you're at exactly in Mozambique, and kind of like your current setup.
Yeah, so where we are now, as I said, it's called Praia de Tofu and or Tofu Beach, and it's in Inhambane province, which is and we are 500 kilometers north of Maputo, or 300 miles. So we're still in the southern portion of the country, but because it's a big country, it's a long coast,
Mm-hmm.
and so we are. This is a one of the most beautiful beaches in Africa. It has world-class diving, world-class surfing. As you said about the humpback whales, there's research facilities here looking into marine megafauna because it really is that unique. The what you have here, you have whale sharks, giant mantas, all
Yeah.
sorts of things. It's a really, I mean, it is a special place.
Mm.
So where we are, so there's the village that's there with the tourism infrastructure, and we're about 2 kilometers outside. So we're in the what we call the bush a little bit,
Yeah, I
and
was
so
gonna say
we're
that two
yeah
kilometers is like it doesn't sound very far, but when you're going through the bush and the four by four trucks and going over the sand, 2 kilometers
yeah
could seem like a long way. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And it's where the electricity ends. So
yeah.
obviously that's where the most part of the development ends. There are some houses and things that are being built and people who are coming further out. But because we're off the grid completely, there's not as much development. And as you said, the road's a hindrance. Is definitely one of the challenges that we got. Car maintenance.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're saying that you guys are off the grid completely. Let's discuss like the setup. So how big of a piece of land are you guys actually on?
So right now we have 6 hectares, which is about 15 acres.
15 acres of land. Okay, so that's a really substantial size of land. Okay.
It is. It is. It's not what we had originally purchased. We've kind of grown over time as we've
Uh-huh.
realized what we want to do with the space and how we want to develop it and what we want to preserve. So there's a lot of really fragile ecosystem here, and to preserve some of that is also important to the work that we're doing.
Wow, that's amazing, man. All right, so let's talk about some of the stuff that you had built on there. So initially, obviously, it's been a long process. So you buy the land in the beginning, and you guys obviously try to fit your immediate needs. Yeah. So you build a house, and then how you want to describe that process?
Sure. Well, I mean, we took an extended process because we first came and we knew in advance that this is what we wanted to do. And so we started laying the groundwork to how to get here and how to get stuff ready for us. And especially if you're traveling with a child, it's not like you want to arrive and be doing, border runs and all the problems. So
Mm-hmm.
um so so yeah, so when we first started, we came in 2010, started the process in 2011, identified the land, and then each time we would come back, we would make a small improvement of something to create a small storage space or something that we could work from.
Mm-hmm.
So when we actually moved here at the end of 2013,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing was to put water. So we
Mm-hmm.
had without water, you can't build, you can't live, you can't do anything. So the first thing was to get situated and then sink a borehole.
Mhm.
And so once that was there, we started to build, and in 4 months, in like 3 months, we built a small structure that we
Okay.
then used as our base.
Okay, let's just hold it right there because
Mm.
I didn't know, I never heard that term before. I kept or the city and stuff, but
Yeah.
I never heard of that term borehole before. And so when I went there and everybody was talking about it, I was really fascinated because we would call it maybe like a little well, yeah, where you can
Yeah. Yeah.
dig about, what is it, about 40 feet down, 50 feet down.
Nah, the one here where we are is 48 meters, so that's about 100, and that's 160 some feet.
Okay, so
So
about 100. Wow, so that's a long hole. Okay, so you go down
yeah,
160 feet, and then there's water there, and somehow the
yeah,
sand is filtrating the water, so it becomes clean and sterile for drinking. Yeah.
exactly. So underneath there's an aquifer that's there, and it's old coral reef, and they actually drill further into the coral to create kind of a filter where the water then goes through that, and then this comes back up, and you pump it up. It pumps up into a tank at the top of the hill, and then gravity brings it back down, and yeah. So yeah, but down there is an aquifer, and then
Yeah.
the sand provides the filtration. So anything that's coming through, it's going through some 40 meters of sand. It's a long way. So
Okay, so I just want to make it very extremely clear and concise for my audience. Okay, you have fresh, clean drinking water that is coming from the ground that you never have to pay for, and that is going to be guaranteed clean.
as long as there's no contamination nearby or something else, but with at that depth right now, we have no, and there aren't homes or anything around, so we have perfectly clean water. We have drinking water out of the shower, everything, and it's out of the tap and into the fridge for cold water. So yeah.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay,
Mm.
so amazing. All right, so let's talk about then after. Okay, you got the water, you built a small structure. I reckon that electricity or power would need to be a concern. How did you guys get power out there?
Well, the first thing, as we were doing construction, we had a generator
Mhm.
for running the water pump. So you have a pump that goes down into the well, and it's submerged in the water, and it pushes the water up. And so you have to run a generator to do that. So we had a generator for our construction, and we used just small lights. It was pretty rugged for a while. I
Yeah.
mean, we would have a cooler box, and we'd get ice, and we'd buy a thing of milk every day, and try and keep the butter for a couple of days and get the ice going. And but for the first couple of years, we didn't have power properly, and or any of those things.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah.
Wow. Okay.
um so
So
then, the construction that was going on, so we started with the small house, and it was really more of kind of glorified tent to try and understand what it was what challenge we were taking on, because it's quite a challenging environment to live. You have to create all these systems, and,
hmm
and in essence, you have
hmm
to create your own utility structure, build the road, build the water, do all these things. So yeah, so the when we finally were able to when we did get a solar system in place, which was about 2 years ago, it was a real game changer. So now it's like, we have a fridge, we have the water pump, we have all of our tools we can use off the solar system. We don't run generator at all anymore.
Okay. So when you say solar system, all right, again, I want to be clear and concise for my audience, all right? So essentially, you're extracting energy from the sun on top of your house, right? And you are collecting the energy and you're using it to serve your house, your lights, your refrigerator, and any other thing that you need can be sourced from this energy.
That's right. So we have solar panels that are up on top of the dune from where we are, and yeah, they feed into a battery bank that's here, and inverters that run power throughout the property. So It powers all of our tools. It powers all of everything that we have here, the computer, the internet, everything.
Amazing, amazing. How much is your electricity bill?
We don't have. It was just the investment. So yeah, no bills.
Oh man, no bill. So you don't pay for water, you don't pay for electricity, and it's all free, and it's all right there. You know what I'm saying? So it's built in. So man, and then you want to just talk about now the next steps. Okay, you got the electricity, you put the solar in. Now you begin to expand. Correct?
Well, yeah, and a lot of it was, all right, now we're here. Let's figure out what it is we're going to do with this space and how we're going to utilize it. And this was one of the interesting things, because we came with a plan, but once we lived here, we said that, where we thought we wanted to live was not the right place. So we ended up living in the place we never thought we would want to live, and all of that was really amazing, because we were able to live on the land and to see how it was at different times of year, how the wind affected it and everything else. So as we understood that, so what we are building here is a retreat space. So we had, and it's a center to create a retreat space for creativity and for healing. So one of the, we had worked in a lot of difficult areas, and so one of the things that keeps recurring is trauma and trauma's impact and how that perpetuates these cycles. So Agnès was involved in this. So one of the things that we were looking at this space was to create a space for people to come to think creatively and also to heal. And so we've done workshops and things like that. So what we are developing, we have the space that is our home, and then we're also creating a space that's more of a kind of, it's not a conference center as such, but it open spaces where you can have groups. And so also things like multi-purpose courts that would have a hoop, but also you would use it for other things. And, you can do sport and activity there. And so that's how we're looking to use the land, is to preserve it and to use it to make it accessible, because it's on deep valleys and it's steep dunes down to the hills. So I want my folks to be able to get around, and I want to be able to get around it in 20 years, and so I got to make it accessible. And so, and so so the first thing, we build our home, then we built a school, a building that became a school, and where our daughter goes to school with some other kids from that also live here. I have my workshop that's here, where we implement some of our projects. We're doing work with plastic recycling. We're doing work with trying to repurpose beach waste and turning plastic into a commodity. So we've done sorts of public art sculptures and different projects utilizing plastic as a different way, and trying to create opportunity, but also to impact and clean the beaches here.
Yeah. That's important, man. And I think last time I was there, you showed me the one where the bottle was it's kind of in the center town by the beach. Yeah, you had some kind of it was really nice reusing the plastic, man. Okay, so wow, so that's a lot to take in. Okay, so you got the school, you have your workshop, and then you started building these kind of guest houses that you prepare for your conferences and retreats. So what were some of the biggest challenges? I mean, obviously, like you said, it wasn't easy. Obviously, you said water, electricity, and kind of roughing it for a few years. What other things that, like, we without being able to see this property wouldn't know that it would be a challenge, like the little things. I don't know if it's bugs or or something, what happens when it rains, or like there's other things that we should be aware of as well.
Well, it's just I mean, it's a constant maintenance. And I think one of the things is you're always learning, because something breaks and you don't have somebody to call to fix. You have to figure it out. So I think that's a lot about like a humble approach, and going in and doing that. Yeah, it's the bureaucracy is one other thing that needs to be taken into account. I mean, there is a process for legalization and these other things in terms of residency and how you're able, depending on what you're trying to do. Yeah, I think it's just constantly looking at it and looking around and trying to make it better. I mean, there's always work, there's always something to be done, and always some new thing that you need to figure out.
Man, fantastic, man. So let's just back up one time and just again get it clear and concise for my audience. So you are living off the grid, is what you're living off the grid, and you have no need for basically you're solely dependent on yourselves. You want to talk about
Right.
the you have food sources on the property as well, don't you?
We do. We have what's called here a mashamba. We have a small garden, vegetable garden. The fishermen come from the beach and come, and we buy fish direct from them. There's other products that are available. We have like 120 some coconut trees. So coconuts are fantastic. You can do so much with it. It's incredible, but so, fresh coconut water, not the one that tastes like it's in a box,
Yeah, you could go
not those carton
water,
ones.
you could go the gel, you could go dry them up and have a shredded coconut. You could yeah, you could do a lot with a coconut.
Create a milk out of it, and
Yeah.
you squeeze it and pulp it and do all this other, and then that leaves behind a flour. You can make cakes out of it.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's
Yeah.
wild.
And I
So
know a lot of people use the shells for like pathways and like
yeah,
in the garden and stuff and decor.
It's in the road.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, man. Well,
Yeah.
this has been an awesome interview. Let's discuss, if you don't mind, briefly, like what's next. Like you said there's a lot of work to do. Do you ever feel like it's a bit overwhelming? Like like it's probably was a constant challenge. Like you said, it's like, okay, when you get there, you know that like this is for real. Like your wife's, your daughter's livelihood and your life, in order to be secure, there has to be some challenges and some adjustments to be made. Did it become overwhelming at one point?
Um, I wouldn't call it overwhelming. It's definitely a challenge, and it's definitely something that's there. I've lived abroad for a long time though, and so it was moving kind of from one context to another. There are, you know, education is one thing that is definitely a big thing in our minds as Seda gets bigger, and she's 8 now, and so in terms of that, there are some aspects that we that are a challenge. They're definitely a challenge, and but ultimately there's a great reward to being here. And the fact is that we made a deliberate choice that we wanted to live in a way where we could spend time with our daughter, where we lived outside, where she played outside, and she had that kind of experience as a child, and that we were able to as well. It's a challenge, and I think this is, to your point, what is a challenge is kind of a mental focus as well, because you're in a place and you're isolated, and not everyone. I mean, I was in New York for 15 years, and it's energy and intensity, and everything's there, that. And then to come to the opposite extreme and come to a real rural area, so you want to keep up the energy and all of that. That can also be a challenge. But if you're in the right mindset, and in your projects, you have interesting projects, and also maintaining connections to home and to outside and those things, and to keep those linkages is also very important.
Yeah, man. Well said. So I think your situation is more relevant now than ever.
Mm.
Everything that's gone on in 2020. I think back home there has been a large migration of the urban population going to more rural areas. You see a big mass exodus out of New York City and places like Chicago and Los Angeles, and people heading to more suburban areas. Real estate has been affected. Um, is there what is it about if anything when that type of lifestyle do you miss, if anything, like is it convenience, or or is it the socially, like do you miss, like I don't know, traffic though.
Yeah,
Who would have missed traffic, right? Like sitting in traffic and like thinking about something, with your window down, and like, do you miss any
uh,
of that, or like?
well, yeah, I do. I don't miss the traffic. My traffic
Yeah.
jams when the cow's on the wrong side of the road, you know. So,
He better get
uh,
over it before you have some ground beef.
hey, man, come to the barbecue. So, no, I definitely, there's things I miss. And up until this year, I haven't left this little small area since March. I haven't gone more than like a 10-mile radius. I haven't done that in my entire life.
Wow.
And so I miss the energy. I miss my friends. I miss the culture. I miss the fact that you can do anything at any time, and I miss the ideas. But I still feed off of them, because friends are there, and I still, I'm looking to that and trying to bring that energy here to some of the projects and bring these projects back to there. That it's a two-way system. It's not just coming from here to there or there to here. But yeah, for sure, there's things I miss. Yeah.
How successful have you been for your guys' family to come out there and experience how you guys are living? Have many family and friends been able to come visit you guys? I know that's important, because that's one thing, being living overseas myself for so long. Like, I'm cool. I really don't need to live in the US. I mean, the life is here. It's very life is very convenient. It's a nice place. It's interesting, but I do miss my family. I do miss my
Yeah.
friends, and there are certain little things that I do miss. But as soon as they come over here, like we had my sister, my nieces, and my brother-in-law come over here 2 years ago, and it was just like awesome. My brother came over. I'm trying to get my dad come over in January, but it just makes it really, really pleasant when you have family and friends, because it makes it like it's all worth it. Like you can make
Ah,
the
for
connection.
sure. And to have that experience in a different place and to come and see and to see the environment that everyone's living. Yeah, we've had visitors. So my folks come out every year. They're really annoyed with COVID and being stuck and that
Oh,
they're not here. So yeah, we've had friends visiting from all over, and it's wonderful. It's really great to be able to share this experience, and more need to come. Man, if I
yeah.
had friends who lived where I lived, I'd go.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So, I'm gonna come down there. I'm gonna bring some friends. You can bring some friends. We can introduce those friends. We're gonna get a wider community started, man.
Definitely, definitely, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, why don't you go ahead and shout out your photography website, and I know you guys have another website there. Um, I see it's dark. The sun is setting back there in Mozambique, so
It is. It is. It
night
is.
is
The sun's
falling.
gone. Night is falling indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my website is timmckulka.com. And then the pottery project is Libumba, Libumba.com. And this is a project that we've been working on here for 4 years. So pottery has 800 to 1,000 year history here
Mm,
in Mozambique, just south in Inhambane. And so we're working with the community to try and transform the tradition as a way to maintain it. So we're building on that and working on cultural preservation, but trying to build that brand as what will help to sustain it. And so have a look, and yeah.
I'll put those links in a description below, inside the description below, so you guys can go ahead and click that and go check out Tim's work and all the great thing they're doing in the community. Well, I appreciate you having on the show. Sorry, right, real quick before I let you go, I have to tell you guys that Mr. Tim has also written a book, or was a photography book, about Sudan. One of the most amazing pieces I've seen, like, somebody actually do. You want to just talk a little bit about that book, man, because it's really dear to our hearts. I know you gave it to my wife's father as a gift, and it's all about Sudan. And he knew some of the people that was in it, and it really was like, it was like a really a really nice special gift, man. We really appreciate that, and it's an awesome book. You want to just talk briefly about that?
Yeah, sure. So that was the book was called, and I'm grateful for that. I'm glad you're enjoying it. But the book is called "We'll Make Our Homes Here: Sudan at the Referendum." So I was in Sudan brief history. It was a long war, and it was leading up to the possible partition of Sudan into Sudan and South Sudan, and that was to happen in 2000, possibly to happen in 2011.
Yeah.
So in the years leading up to that referendum and the decision of whether Sudan would remain one or divide, I traveled around, had the opportunity to travel around all of the country, the 25 states. And then I collected those images with some background history, and also essays from prominent Sudanese thinkers from the north, the south, the east, and the west, and asked them, who is a Sudanese? What does it mean to be a Sudanese? And looking into how people identified and what people were thinking about their relationship to the country as it was. And at that point, many people knew it was to split. So it was kind of taking a look at a country that was dividing and changing, and was not going to be that mix that it had always been. So it was kind of a love letter to Sudan, of, you know, all that I was blessed to experience there, and also a platform, I hope, for people to speak about what they were feeling. So it was a book for Sudanese. So
Man,
that was
it
what the
was
project
really
was
well
about.
received, man. I appreciate you, man, so much for that gift again, and I appreciate you coming on the show. It's been fantastic
Mm.
to talk to you, and I'm sure our guests will enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today has been Mr. Tim McKulka, and make sure you subscribe to our channel, Azomco Global. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Thank you, Tim, and I'll see you soon. Hopefully on the other side, my brother.
Definitely. Peace, man.
All right.